one that we've ever done of these. So we're just ironing out some, technical difficulties that happens when you're doing things like podcasts and Facebook Lives and first Zoom ever. So thank you so much for joining us for our very, very first one today.
And here we are live on Facebook. Yoo-hoo. So hi and welcome everybody to the very first one, as Jenni said, of bite-sized conversations. It's all about business tips, hints, and random thoughts.
We have lots of those.
We do indeed. So I'm Kylie Mowbray-Allen from Hello Media, and I'm a business coach specializing in digital marketing. And this is Jenni from Elephant in the Room Consulting, and I'll leave Jenni to introduce what she does.
So I'm a business coach and consultant. I work with small businesses and have done so for about 3 years through my business, doing consulting and coaching programs.
Yay, Jenni. So good to be here with you. So what are we chatting about today, Jenni?
Well, we thought for our very first one of these, when we're sharing business tips, ideas, and random thoughts, that we should talk about the importance of having a business coach or a mentor or someone that you can bounce ideas off, and how all the best people in the world who are really killing it have their own coach or own mentor.
Absolutely. So even though many of us are coaches in many different ways, having your own coach keeps you going to that next level.
It does.
When you are an expert in an area, there's always something new to learn, or there's always another area that you want to learn more in. So
I know I was talking about this with some clients and also some colleagues earlier in the week, that we get to a point when we've been doing the same thing over and over again, and you start to kind of feel like you're the expert, and people tell you the expert, and you have this, well, I'm the expert now and everybody should come to me. But the only way you can stay the expert is if you keep growing and keep learning. And one of my coaches once said to me, you only need to be one day ahead or one thought ahead of your clients. But you can only do that if you keep learning and if you find people that you can learn from.
Absolutely, so true. And we also invite you guys to be letting us know in the chat if you have got any questions that you want to ask us. It can be anything to do with business or digital marketing today, but from next week onwards, each one will have themes, other than obviously today we're talking about coaching. And also on the Facebook Live, if you've got some questions that you'd like to ask, please put them in the comments so that we can.
I have a question. Share. I would love people in the chat, because we've got a number of people on today. So in the chat, can you let us know whether you have a business coach, a life coach, or a mentor that you talk to, and how often? So yes or no, and how often you talk to them, because I'm really keen to see how many people who are on the call also have that business coaches.
That's a very good question. And while they're doing that, so I'll share mine. So I have a sales coach that I meet up with weekly. That's in a group coaching capacity, which is just phenomenal. I'm also part of a, what would you call it, Jenni, that we're both part of together, whether it's how we met, that we are have coaching that we can go to each week, but also our own furthering our, what do you call it, where we're getting to be better coaches too.
Yeah. So, and also I have, one of the things that I've learned, I mean, we met a year ago doing a very similar type program. And since then you've got your programs. I'm joining the same sales strategy program that Kylie's doing, because I've watched and I've seen the amazing, incredible results she's doing. So I've gone, I want a bit of that. So I'm going to learn some stuff from her coach. But also I have people and peers, and I know there are some beautiful people on the call now who are like the people I call and bounce ideas off. And we often don't think of those people as coaches. And I'm noticing in the chat, most people have said they don't have a coach. Informal mentors, so great, Steve. But that idea of having a coach or somebody that you talk to, but you're obviously thinking about things like coaching as a formal person. Like obviously Kylie and I sell what we do as a business, and we have coaching programs and we deliver workshops for business owners and anybody who wants to build their digital systems and digital marketing, and for me, their business. Yet we also have those informal people that you chat to. It might be your partner, it might be your best friend, it might just be a client who provides you really great insight and reflections on what you do. So I really want you to consider how important that is for your business. What do you think about that, Kylie?
Absolutely. And I was just putting into the chat there that actually today, 3 of the people in the Zoom with us are in my group coaching program, and one of them is in my one-on-one coaching program, which is fabulous. I absolutely love that weekly working together, whether it's the group or the one-on-one, and just getting to know them and their business, because the more I know them, the more I can help them and the more I can give to them in a very specific way, which is great.
And that's why I love things like this. Like, we decided to start this every Friday because we talk to so many people and we get so many of the same questions asked from us. And we thought we both have very similar values, very similar approaches to our business, but we do completely different things. And so by every week, I have a question that I ask Kylie, and Kylie does a similar thing to me. So we thought, well, why don't we share the tips and ideas that we get and the questions that our clients ask us or our colleagues, so that we can bounce ideas off each other and share that with you. So if you don't think you have a coach, well, you've got two now every Friday at 8:15 who's willing to answer your questions and chat to you. And that's what the chat's for. So put your details in the chat, register on Zoom, and then we can make sure we actually answer those questions and try and help you build your business or whatever you want to do.
Yeah, that's great. And so Jenni and I actually have a coaching session with each other each week. Sometimes I need more, sometimes she needs more, but we have that scheduled in every Friday, which is my CEO day for working on my business. And it's awesome because there's so many things. Like, Jenni's, why don't you tell them, Jenni, what your specialty areas are?
I actually was reading this awesome testimonial that someone left for me, and they said, I'm the lemonade maker. She was trying to work out what she should do with lemons, and she said she's the lemonade maker, which I'm like, I want now on my business card, because that's kind of awesome. And the idea, so what I do is I help people get clarity about what their business should look like. So what they want it to look like for them. So where they're going, what they're trying to achieve, and then look at the processes and systems that they need to do that. Because we all have amazing ideas about wanting to start a business, and we think it's so easy. But I've realized, having been in business for just over 3 years now as a small business owner, that we live in what I like to call the messy middle. So we start off with a really clarity about the idea. We have this dream of what the future is going to look like, and it is clear for some people, but the middle is always going to be messy. Even if you're killing it, even if you're making 7 figures every month or every year, you're still going to be in the messy middle. So you still need to navigate the highs and lows and the ups and downs of businesses. So what I do is I help people navigate business by untangling that mess.
I just love how you put it. And also the other thing that you do, excuse me, particularly that retreat, that most recent retreat that you ran, all about, I'm a bit croaky this morning, excuse me, all about accidental business owners, because that is so many people that just, particularly ones that come to me, it's like, I was very good at what I did, or my hobby, for example, somehow grew, and then all of a sudden I've got a business out of it, but I have no business experience. Or, for example, a workshop I was running yesterday, and at least half of the group said, we just have no presence on social media. It just doesn't feel natural to us. We don't really know how to do it, so we're just kind of fumbling. And that's so much the case for so many people. Just because you've got a business and you're doing something that you love doesn't mean you should be or have to be good at all of the other things. And that's where it's time to up your skills.
And that, I love that piece you talk about, because when you're dealing with people and talking about social media, what I find is a lot of my clients, I help them with the recognition and understanding about why they need to do it. But that is certainly not my area of genius, and that's entirely your space. And that's what I love, because I say to my clients, you need to find somebody like Kylie. But once I help them understand why they need it and the value it's going to bring, then I can pass them to you to help them actually show them how to do it and deliver those results they want through social media. So I've shared what I do. Why don't you let people know what you do?
Oh, excuse me. So I was actually just working on a statement, just in a course that I was in the beginning of the week, which was about sales processes, and it was mind-blowing. It's something that mine and now Jenni's sales coach offers, and it was just incredible. But one of the things that we were working on within it was like a superpower statement, or your superhero statement, that I always love working on and then revisiting and revisiting. So I've just been thinking about all that and unpacking it and seeing if I wanted to package it differently, etc. So I definitely don't have that great line, but maybe I will by next week, about you being the lemonade maker, because I love that.
I know, right?
That is so good. But what I specialize in is helping people get visible where they're actually really comfortable with that. So it's not always going to be the same for everybody. So finding ways that they can put themselves out there or put their business out there so that people actually understand what it is that they're offering. So we get clarity around what's happening on their website, what's happening on their social media, what's happening on their email newsletter, etc., and then making it all marry up together. And of course, that all boils down to, have you got your branding on point? Because once your branding's on point, then you can go out there and share your message and make sure that what you're telling the world about is actually what you do, so it's not confusing for everybody.
And what I love about what you do, and you only kind of skimmed over it, but for people to recognize, and this is the real value of having a coach like Kylie who understands the whole side of digital marketing, not just social media, not just website design, but digital marketing. We forget that term. So as a digital marketing coach, you're going through the whole life cycle from a branding perspective in a business. So you don't have someone posting some random stuff on YouTube and then something completely different on Instagram, and their website looks like it's built by someone who, in a completely other location. You get consistency, so you can make sure that the stories speak to each other, because we forget that sometimes, that even though we're catching our clients on different platforms, we're all trying to send them to the website, or we're all trying to get an email address, because the reality of business is we want to capture you, we want to talk to you, and we want to engage with you. And you can only do that if you have consistency in your brand. And so I love that you talk about digital marketing. It's not about social media. It goes deeper and bigger than that. And I think that's so important.
That's absolutely right. And I think a lot of people think that my main thing is social media, which it isn't. It's just one piece of the puzzle. But also, so many people are so overwhelmed by social media and how many things there are out there. But the truth is, just because they're there doesn't mean that you need to be on all of them. Where you need to be is where your client or your customers are, or particularly your dream clients and customers. So if they are on TikTok, then yes, you should be over there. But if they are on Instagram, you should be there too. So the amount of people that say to me, I just don't want to be on Facebook. And I say, but are your clients there? Are your customers there? They say, yes. And I'm like, well, that's where you need to be too. Yes, indeed. But that doesn't mean you need to be on all of them. So choosing the ones that feel right. But that said, you still definitely need to have a newsletter set up. You still definitely need to have your website. And actually, I would like to say that since Facebook shopping and Instagram shopping became so much more of an exciting thing, it's amazed me how many people have said, particularly in webinars and workshops, that they really don't feel like they need a website anymore. I'm like, oh, you definitely need a website, because what is it that I always say, Jenni? I'm sure you'll know it.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
That's right. And you don't own your socials. You don't own your Facebook page or your Facebook group. You don't own your Instagram account, but you do own your email database and you do own your website.
And it's funny you say that, because I had this similar conversation when you talked about the 3-day that I had the mastermind program. And one of the biggest conversations we had was about landing pages and using other systems, which I don't need to name, but other marketing systems that allow you to set up landing pages. And we had a big conversation about that, because I'm like you, I own my domain name. I've purchased it, it's mine. And while I keep paying the registration fees, no one else can have that. No one else can have the information on it. So I build my landing pages actually at the back end of my WordPress or whatever site you're using, so that if people come to me, I don't have to choose whether I'm using one brand or another in terms of social media. Now, I know there's big conversations about that, which we'll probably talk about on another time. But when you're first starting out and you don't know how to build a landing page, you're not quite sure, if you keep it on your site, then at least you know that if you change your mind later, you're not going to be hit with fees, or if you decide you don't want to use that service anymore, you're not going to lose all that incredible work that you've done.
Absolutely. And if you think of your website like your brochure, so it actually only needs to be a very small brochure. It's a little bit expanded than a business card, but a brochure is all it needs to be in the beginning. It doesn't need to have all the extra whistles and bells and membership site attachments and shopping carts and all those things. Just a brochure will do. Yeah. So I'm definitely on the same page with that having a website, and then if that's your hub and everything that you do is working towards getting people to find out more about what you do on your website.
Put them to the website.
Yeah, then that is awesome. So every new package I ever create starts on that website. Yeah. And then I work back from there and think, now, how am I going to get people to know about that? And then that's, of course, where your social media and your newsletter comes in, etc.
Definitely. What I also love, and I think this is the thing that the biggest, and we're talking about why we need to have a coach. And I mean, these are examples as to why having a coach, because I learn stuff from you, you hopefully learn stuff from me.
Absolutely, I do.
One of the biggest things that I learned many, many, many years ago that I share with all my clients now is that we love shiny things. I'm a mad shiny things fan, you know, something, and you and I've talked about this a lot, that when something new comes to market, when something's exciting, like a TikTok or like Instagram or whatever you're using, everybody feels the need that they need to buy it or get on board with it, but they don't think about the impact it's going to have on their business. So and one of the things I share is that every time you learn something new, you have to ask yourself, do I need it now? Is it going to add value? And what's the cost of actually implementing it? Because we forget those things. And that's something that I would never have learned had I not been sitting down with a coach, and he was actually a business analyst at the time, wasn't even an actual coach. It's just somebody I spoke to who I now define as a coach, who was talking to me about the cost of implementing new systems and the cost, both good and bad, of implementing or making change in your business. And this is where having somebody like you and a coach in terms of business systems like me really helps people grow, because we actually get them to see that big picture and understand that cost, which I think a lot of people forget when they have shiny things syndrome.
Absolutely. So Jenni, how do people work with you that want to know more about what you do and what you offer?
Thank you for asking. I have a couple of programs. I have a group coaching program called the Messy Middle Group Coaching Program. It's a fortnightly group coaching session, so you're welcome to jump on that. It's called a program, but we just basically go through different areas of the business around clarity, structure, process, answer questions, and it's a small group coaching program. I also do one-on-one coaching programs with people who want to deep dive, and we spend some time really unpacking the business. But my favorite thing that I do, I have to say, is the Accidental Business Owners Mastermind, which is a 3-day immersive. We go to an amazing place. The next one's actually borders open, is going to be in Kingscliff, and it's 3 days immersion where we basically unpack and repack up your business so that you have clarity, structure, and processes around what you want to do, and really clear actions about how you want to achieve those.
Jenni, when you told me about your retreat after it had finished, I just couldn't even believe the amount of FOMO I felt.
Well, the next one's in February.
It sounded so awesome. And
amazing.
The problem being that it was in Queensland and we were locked down in New South Wales.
Which is why I'm really excited about Kingscliff, because I don't know if I've discovered Kingscliff. I've been in Brisbane for 6 years, and I only just discovered Kingscliff maybe a year and a half ago, because I drive to visit my mum just down south of you, and we never do that turn off to Kingscliff, but we did one weekend, and it's so beautiful. We want a space that people get away from the business. And you know the benefit of that. You did that this week, and you run programs where you take people away from their business to think about and immerse yourself. And it had so much value. And we had a business that had been running for 10 years that learned new things about their business. And I had someone who'd started their business 10 years ago, but didn't pay attention to it and has only really been back into it for 6 months. So it doesn't matter where you are in your journey. Those type of activities really, really do add value to the business. But tell me about you and how people can find you.
Well, I do. My website is hellomedia.team, which is all about you and I being a team every Friday morning, my amazing team behind the scenes, and also when I work with clients, them and I become a team. So it's hellomedia.team, excuse me. And then under offerings, my two main ones are my one-on-one coaching, where we work from beginning right the way through to from branding to their social media to their website audit to all of those things. It's an amazing program, and I absolutely love getting stuck in with people one-on-one. But my newest offering, which has been going now for a month and I'm absolutely loving, is my group coaching program. And each month has themes, and each month we bring in a new guest speaker. You know that because you were the guest speaker on Monday morning, which was great. And so they're really, really small groups, and it's just a wonderful way to be working on those businesses. And then of course they go away each week, and they've got tasks and challenges and all those things and come back the next week with. So it's really good. I was about to say a good kick up the backside, but you might like to rephrase that as accountability.
No, I think kick up the backside is better. Let's call it, my business is called Elephant in the Room. Let's call it what it is, right? Because so many people like to make fancy ways of saying things and put, pretty pictures. And I mean, I know you do digital marketing and pictures are important, but it's not about covering up what it is. It's actually about saying, hey guys, you need to, if you want to grow your business, there's stuff you need to do, and I'm going to hold you accountable, and I'm going to kick your butt when you don't. Because that's what you want to coach for. That's what you join our programs for, is not to just listen to our awesome advice, wink, wink, but it's actually about saying, hey, you're here to learn, you're here to grow, and you're here to actually build a strong, sustainable business, whatever that looks like. I work with hobbyists, guys who don't ever want to grow their business bigger than kind of markets on a Sunday, but they want to do it better. So it doesn't matter where you want to be in your business, whether you want to be a multimillionaire or you just want to be comfortable at home and earn earn enough to cover the rent and the mortgage and the food and an occasional holiday. It doesn't matter. But what we want is consistency and someone to hold our hand through the process and be there. Isn't that right? Isn't that what these Fridays are about, is being there for people?
Absolutely. And I love that you said about the hobbyists, because I really love working with people like that as well. And particularly when they want to learn from you and learn to do it better. But I think that also boils down to them wanting to have it a more simple or simplified processes and ways of doing it, because things don't need to always be hard. You know, that great little saying about working smarter, not harder. Yeah. So when you're working with a coach, finding ways that, it's often it takes for other people to point out the ways that you can do it in a more simplified way and get better results from that more simplified way.
Exactly. Because we all think we know what we should be doing, right?
Yep.
Let's face it, all of us, and particularly we're coaches, so we think we know what we're doing. But sometimes even we need to sit back and go, oh, that's a really interesting way of looking at things, and it changes our perspective. And what I think coaching does is you may not learn something new, and you've just said this, but the way I talk about it is you change the lens you're looking through. And that's all it is what is the lens? Are you looking at a short lens or a long-term lens, or is it just the wrong lens? Is it too filtered? Is it got like a beautiful filter on it so everything looks rosy? Or do you need to actually take it off and actually take the camera down and look at your business for what it really is, not what you believe it is? So that's what I love about coaching people and working with people like you, because we have that same vision.
I agree, Jenni. I love that. And I just noticed Lizzie's comment in the chat that says she bounces ideas off a person who's in the same business. And I think that's a wonderful idea. So that's why I'm involved in so many different digital marketing conferences. I'm really big on social media marketing world in the States, but also a member of the Social Media Marketing Society. I'm heavily involved in Social Media Examiner, which is all part of the same thing, because even though we're doing it every day in our own business, we've still got to keep learning in our own industry, as well as learning ways to upskill and improve ourselves. I know for a fact that if I didn't have my own coaches and didn't keep learning and constantly growing, that I would definitely be starting to feel a bit stagnant.
Very much so. And I think it is that idea of keep learning and keep growing and keep finding new ways to do what you do better. And I love the way you said that. It is working smarter. It's getting rid of the overwhelm, isn't it? It's about not thinking about, oh my gosh, the weight of my business is on my shoulders because of all these things I have to do. We want you to get up and love what you do. We clearly love what we do. And so we want to be able to share that with you and create this same passion in you. And because if you don't, then why are you doing it? Why are you in business, and why bother getting up at 8:15 on a Friday morning or 9:15 in New South Wales and South if you're not loving what you're doing?
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And people often say to me, you work some crazy, crazy hours. And I'm like, but actually I love it. I love what I do. I feel absolutely energized from what I do with people. And
very much so.
It feeds me. It's awesome. Well, financially it feeds me too. So I'm ticking many boxes there.
I love it.
Which is great.
I'm so excited that this is our very first one of these, and every Friday we're going to be getting we'll get better at conversations. But reach out to us and tell us what you want to talk about, because we want to know. I mean, Kylie and I could talk under a layer of wet cement, easily and for hours, which is why we've decided to keep this as a 30-minute bite size, because you guys have stuff to do on a Friday. CEO day, it's my consolidation day too. I'm going to start calling it CEO day. I love that. So making sure that we connect and continue to share with us what you want to learn. It's I know Merlin's putting in the chat. Everyone have a look save the chat after if you want to actually get all our socials and connect with us. Share the information, share the questions with us, and we'll, over the next couple of weeks, months, years, try and help you in those areas.
Awesome. That's been so great having that little first little moment with you today, Jenni. And I'm really excited that we've got our schedule of topics and that we've really got a lot of great things happening ahead for us all. So thank you for being
with me. And don't forget, if you miss one of these, we have it on the podcast, which is going to be the Bite Size Conversations podcast, which is going to record, or basically take the recording of this and put it onto the podcast so you can listen into your car when we start to do tips and strategies. It's a great way to have that information, retain in your brain. We've got the Zoom and of course the Facebook Live, but the Zoom is where it's at, isn't it?
Yes, because then it's very easy for us to answer the questions, and
exactly,
we love that. See what you both, well, it's not what you both see, what you all need. There's some great little questions in there now, and but I think we've covered the majority of them. Okay. So awesome, great to be with you today, Jenni. So just a little reminder of your website for people to go and find you.
I'm at eitrconsulting.com is my website, and all my socials are at Elephant in the Room AU.
Cool. And I am hellomedia.team. And it's been awesome. Thanks so much, guys. And we look forward to seeing you next week. And make sure you let us know in the comments what topics you want to know more about.
Thanks for being here.
Cool.
See you next
Thanks,
week.
guys. Bye.